So I found a personality test online, and I thought I would take it for you guys to give you more to work with in terms of an interpretation of me. And yep, with all that being said, begin test indeed. I'm quite an imaginative person. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. I mean, yeah, I think I do like ask a whole bunch of like questions and stuff. I mean, I guess that's more anyone can actually do, but I'm kind of curious what the connotations of this is supposed to be, because like I agree that we as humans like make shit up, but then I'm ultimately like nihilistic, so that's why I say that like we make shit up, because it's kind of just like oh, doing this distraction, whatever, we're all just gonna die. So like I'm not gonna pick disagree, but I'm not gonna pick strongly agree, because I get the impression that if I were to go with like strongly agree, it's like I'm one of those people that have like these like extremely strong like feelings of, oh, this is me, this is whatever. But I mean, like, to me, yeah, this is just whatever indeed. Like, I'm saying whatever in the sense that like this is just random and we make shit up. So I'm gonna go with agree. I get stressed quite easily. I mean, I guess so. I mean, I don't necessarily have to like express it or like anything, but I mean, like, the world's kind of stupid and everyone in it's like super extra. I mean, this is all gonna go down to a pitch black darkness. So in a way, I don't see how you wouldn't wake up every single day with just like an eye roll or like just a slight annoyance at the very least. So I'm just gonna go with agree again, just for like the sake of it, because not all emotions necessarily have to be expressed. But I mean, I guess when we're if we're appealing to those people that are like highly emotional, I guess the thing that they tell us is that like, oh, it's still there apparently. So I'm just gonna go with like, yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty critical anyway, so I'm gonna go with, yeah, I'll just go with agree. I get irritated easily. um I don't really get what the difference here is supposed to be. Like, what connotation is there towards irritated in particular in comparison to, let's just saying, stressed? But the way I interpret that is like more or less the same. So I guess I'm just gonna go with agree for like the exact same reasoning I did for the previous one. So I'll just go with agree. I keep my home office very clean. I mean, I don't really have an organizational like system or anything like that. Like, to me, it's more like I just have to know where it is, and if I can find it, then I'm not gonna think any more about it. I don't really think about like, oh, if I just did it this way, because like I know some people are gonna be like, oh, well, if you just set up, if you had like an organizational like structure, then like you would know. But it's just like, I mean, I don't need a system as long as I remember, as long as I see it, like nothing more, nothing less. But I wouldn't necessarily say like I'm a complete slob, because I mean, I don't know what strongly disagree is supposed to entail, but when I'm guessing like strongly is, I guess it's like I don't know. I imagine somebody with like a really really just chaotic room, which I don't necessarily think that like paints me out, but I'm not like a neat freak either. But I mean, then again, it's saying very clean, so I guess it is kind of like leaning towards it, at least in terms of like how I interpret it, as to like if I'm very, I don't know, like anal, I guess is like the way to say it. So I'm just gonna go with disagree. I'm not very artistic or creative. I mean, are my videos creative? I mean, it's not really like, I wouldn't call myself like artistic or anything like that. I don't do crafts, painting, or like whatever, like anything like that. So, I mean, I have kind of thought for the longest time that like nobody's really had like an original thought in like centuries. I mean, everything's just made up anyway. So like, what does that even mean? Um, you know what? I'm just gonna go with strongly agree. Like, I feel like for this one, I can actually go with strongly agree. I am usually relaxed. See, now this one's kind of like hard, because like I want to agree and I want to disagree. I mean, no matter what I feel, good or bad, like it's all just gonna fade away, and I kind of just get like hollow. So this is kind of, I mean, relaxed enough for me. I guess I'm just gonna go with agree. I don't know if that contradicts the whole like irritated easily, stressed easily sort of thing, but it's like, I mean, I can answer this however the fuck I want, I imagine, right? It's just like, it's just about me or whatever the fuck. So it's just like, yeah, give me your interpretation in the comments, obviously. But I mean, like, okay, you know what? I'm relaxed enough for me because at some point everything's pointless. So what what is there to actually stress like energy about? Like you kind of just hit that brick wall and then everything's just like uh whatever. So I'm just gonna go with agree. Not that the world still can't like piss me off because it's like I mean it's all a big whatever. So whatever. Yeah, I'm cool. I'm chill. In a way, I agree. I'm just gonna go with agree. I rarely hold grudges against others. I mean, I kind of see my life in like small fragments, I guess. It's like whatever I felt in a certain moment, like that's all that there was. It's kind of like what I've been always saying, nothing actually retains. So I guess if I choose to think about something that I didn't like that someone did, I guess technically it will always be there, even though none of it, all of who I am and how I feel about myself is never actually that personal because I kind of feel like I'm nothing. I'm I'm still yeah, I'm still gonna go with like strongly disagree because I mean yeah I'm pretty critical, so it's like I mean we all deserve I guess some form of scrutiny because like our species is just like a fuck up or whatever. I mean, this is our pattern. Like we like delude ourselves for the time being that like things are gonna be okay, but then we continue fighting again because everybody with their different fucking ideologies and everybody wanting their way, blah blah blah, all this like hierarchy shit. So you know what? Actually, yeah, strongly disagree because we always like I believe we as people fall in this like pattern. So I'm gonna go with strongly disagree on like rarely holding grudges against other people. I do the smallest amount of work needed to get. Yep. Yeah. I mean, like, who cares? Like, I know other people have this attitude where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go get it, but I'm just like, again, it's like a fucking eye roll. It's like if the universe is gonna make us exist within like the rules of like the laws of let's say physics or like whatever in terms of like what we're like capable of. It's like why do we as a species, from like what I've observed from like other people, is that like they delude themselves into thinking that like they're playing the game successfully or like whatever. I mean, nah, man. As soon as we exist, we're slaves to biology, our brain, the survival instinct, blah blah blah, or like whatever. So like at the very least, yeah, it kind of just feels like I'm doing the bare minimum. I mean, everybody I think is doing the bare minimum, but they project and they idealize this like made up image that's like there's something more to get or there's something more to I don't know accomplish or something. Like it's all very like super extremely extra. So I'm gonna go with yeah, definitely strongly agree. I do the smallest amount of work needed to get by. I have an interest in art such as music, literature, or paintings. I mean, I probably won't go like too in depth in terms of like a conversation. Like, I don't know, I can tell you like songs I like, whatever, this or that, but it's like I don't necessarily think I'm like one of those people where it's like I'm so like a dedicated cult follower almost, I guess, because it's like to me it's like okay, enjoy it. If it's gone, then okay, find something else to enjoy. So uh, I guess just because there's like literature and paintings in like particular, I mean the only thing interesting here to me at most is like yeah, music at the very least. Literature, paintings, like art or something. It's like I don't know, like I wouldn't mind going to like a museum, but like I don't necessarily see it as like a priority, let's say. So oh actually, you know what? I'm actually just gonna go like disagree on this one. I have frequent mood swings. I mean, maybe to myself, I don't necessarily know if like other people would like pick that up because like I'm a naturally pretty quiet person. I don't necessarily feel the need to like talk to other people unless like I strongly desire to, hypothetically. So it's like I don't know. When I interpret this question, it's like who would have to say it, like me or like someone else. I mean, I guess like if you are, let's say, somebody with like frequent mood swings, you probably feel like all those things are justified, right? Because it's a thing that is like rapidly happening to you. I mean, I don't know. Nothing feels real. So I'm just gonna go with like disagree because I guess like that's how I'm choosing to I guess interpret the whole like frequent mood swing sort of thing. It's like I think we all go through moods, but then again we kind of just go back to like our resolve and I don't know, maybe some people are extra and they still think that like there was something special in terms of like their memories or something or like whatever, but I don't know, from like my point of view personally, it's just like you just sit in like emptiness like all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna go with disagree. People sometimes tell me that I'm too judgmental of others. um, yeah, I mean, perhaps, I guess, because, like, I mean, isn't anybody? I mean, like, we exist in a world where people have different ideologies, different thoughts, different, like, whatever. And it's like, people always talk like their values are, like, so important. So, like, who's to say what's, like, judgmental or, like, what isn't? Um, I'm only gonna go with like strongly agree because I feel like okay, if you talk to people like long enough, then you're bound to meet people that obviously have different points of views, this or that. So it's just like I don't necessarily know how this wouldn't just apply to anybody in general, like living in this like dumb fuck society. So like I'm just gonna go with like strongly agree. I don't let impulses interfere with my behavior. Um, See, how am I supposed to take this? Because, like, I know there are expectations that, like, other people expect you to do. And everybody has, like, different, like, ideas or something. So it's like, if I say, like, no, I would much rather do this, maybe some people are like, oh, it's getting in the way of, like, things that are, like, more important, bro. But it's like, what exactly is something that's, like, more, excuse me, more important? Like, you can say that, maybe I don't care, blah, blah, blah. I don't let impulses interfere with my behavior. I'm just gonna go with like strongly agree because like the world to me is like a series of like arguments, and obviously you back up what you believe. So I feel like somebody saying this is kind of like a like idea that they want to trap you in to, I guess, let's say make you feel like you're gonna be more susceptible to like agreeing with like the things that like they say, perhaps. I mean, I know this is supposed to be like vague in general, but it's like I'm just trying to like lay down like interpretations that I get like immediately right when I get it. So this is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm gonna go with like strongly disagree because at least like I would never say that for myself at the very least. Like you might like disagree or like whatever. I mean like well that's life, series of arguments, disagreements all around. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with strongly disagree. Museums and art galleries bore me. Oh, see, I'm glad we actually got to this because it's in connection to the other question about I guess like art and shit. And I don't know if like bore is like necessarily the thing, but I know that I wouldn't necessarily get like the same enjoyment as I guess like a specific certain kind of person. Because at least like for me, it's like I know that if I go through like a museum, even if I like see something cool, like I probably won't even take a picture of it. Well, I mean, like, aren't there like some museums where you're not even allowed to like take a picture of like the things on like display? Yeah, some museums, right? But I imagine like if there was a museum where like you could, I wouldn't even necessarily take like a lot of pictures. See, like I'm not the kind of person that usually takes a lot of like pictures anyway. So nothing to me is usually that like interesting to like let's say like be documented, not even from like a mental point of view. So it's like if I can see if I'm like in a museum or like I'm in some sort of like art gallery, like I might look at it and think to myself like oh that's cool, or like my interpretation of like whatever the art is in terms of like what I'm looking at. But I like highly doubt that like something is actually gonna like stay. It's like I'd go to one if like hypothetically we were like friends hanging out or something, and like that's fine, maybe it can like branch out like a conversation, or like if I went on a date with my girlfriend and we were checking out some sort of like museum, that'd be okay. But it's just like um I don't know, things about expression are like extremely paradoxical to me because obviously people express themselves to like a certain degree, right? Like I'm doing this right now, I'm posting like videos for you guys, but it's just like a lot of like my expression is just from my understanding to think that like the world is kind of just like super extra and it's a try hard, and like everything that we do is a result of like people trying hard, even though it's just gonna result to like nothing, and like we all die, nothing more, nothing less. So in a sense, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go with like agree, not like strongly agree, because it's like again, I can do it, I guess, depending on like whatever the specific context or like scenario is. But it's just like out of like me personally, I'm yeah, just like super indifferent. So I think yeah, I'll go with yeah, agree. It does kind of bore me. I mean, most things just bore me in general. I rarely feel down. Um, maybe not down in terms of like being sad. If you just want to talk about like negativity in general, then I would like disagree. But I think it's more like I feel like frustrated and annoyed because like again, eye roll to like everything because this world's just like super pointless. And again, that's not necessarily something to like be like upset about. It's like I don't okay. Actually, I think when I say that like the world is meaningless, I'm not like actually upset by that fact per se. I would more so think that it's just like it's too noisy and I wish it would actually just like pipe down like sort of thing. So I am at least mildly irritated like every single day. Like I deal with it, but like it's like there. So actually I rarely feel down. Yeah, strongly agree. Strongly agree. I don't feel sad. I'm just like it's more like an ugh than a I don't know, like disappointment sort of connotation that you would more so associate with like being down or sad. So actually, I'm gonna go with strongly agree. I'm quick to forgive others. This is kind of hard because I have object constancy. So it just depends on like where you're catching me. I mean, if somebody did something that annoyed me, it'll probably stick with me for like the rest of my life. It doesn't necessarily mean that like I'm always constantly like fixating on it, but it's like, I exist in like broken, fragmented pieces. So it's not like I can really compensate everything that I go through because the shit just feels like random. So actually, what? Like strongly disagree because I'm gonna dissolve today and I'll find out who I am tomorrow. So it's like it's just as much for me to I guess figure out compared to like somebody else. I mean, I don't really feel I don't know if comfortable is the word, but like I guess like having something like neatly wrapped in like a bow in terms of like to give to this answer. So but I'm still gonna go with like strongly disagree. Because like conflict is what makes the world go round. What people think that they're entitled to makes the world go round if you personally ask me. So I'm gonna go with like strongly disagree. I'm a very impulsive person. And see, much like in similarities to like the other thing when they were talking about like impulsivity here within this like test thingy, I'm just like what does that even mean? Because actually one like philosophical thing that I entertain quite a lot on a daily basis, I would say, is like the idea of like anybody actually having like some sort of like free will because there's so many factors like nature versus nurture. Like is it an illusion of free will that we have? Because that's kind of like the leaning that like I'm sort of doing. My perspective is more so like we act on what our strongest like inclination is, but do we actually have a say in that, quote unquote? I think sure we can feel like we're in control, but then how do you actually break that down if you just feel like you're in control? Because let's say the environment, culture, society maybe molded some opinions to like push you towards what you're supposed to believe versus oh your biological wiring is wired in this like specific sort of way where your brain processes information to make you think certain thought excuse me certain thoughts in order to I guess let's say do certain actions. So I don't really know where to go about this, but I guess like I'll just take the route that I did before where I said it's like obviously it doesn't feel that way to me because everybody, I guess in terms of like survival instinct, wants to feel like they're in some form of control. So I guess I'll go with like strongly disagree. I like eccentric and unconventional people. I mean, I guess so in the sense that like I mean I still think that like okay obviously even with somebody weird even like to me it's like it's not even a matter of like whether somebody is like normal or like weird. It's just like what are we gonna like talk about like specifically. I guess it's like from like an overall view I can see why people would hypothetically be interested because what's to be expected is like typically expected, nothing more nothing less. But if you come across somebody that okay let's say it's more eccentric and like unconventional, it I guess makes people compensate, and to a certain degree, that's enjoyable for everybody because it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do with like information that like I don't know? And that can be, let's say, something that irritates a lot of people, but also actually something that like interests people. And I can see hypothetically why that would occur because, eccentric, unconventional people have different forms of thinking that maybe wouldn't necessarily come to you because you're surrounded by people who typically just like think the same things. So, yeah, it could be interesting, but I mean, honestly, I don't want to be that person that's like extra where it's just like, oh my gosh, I want to stand out just for the sake of like standing out or like something like that because like that's just as much of a, I don't know, like frustrating thing to me where it's like, oh, you're trying so hard to like get like attention and it's like if you're weird for that reason, then I'm just like, ugh, I don't really like understand. Cause like I don't know, maybe I can be considered weird to like certain people, but it's like I'm just doing shit. It's like I'm not necessarily thinking about like how that's gonna come across to like somebody else. So I guess like it depends. But I mean, I think an agree, like a simple agree for this is like a safe middle ground, at least for me. So like I'll just yeah, I'll go with that. I often worry about the little things. Um I don't really know what the fuck that means, honestly, because like I think about a lot of shit. It's like if I can conceive it, I'll be thinking about it. I'll be branching off different thoughts in terms of how to interpret it because I guess I would say the world is pretty ambiguous, obviously. That's why we have like too much fucking like conflict and all that kind of stuff because everybody has ideologies and like whatnot. So I would go with I often like let's say think about shit, but in terms of like worrying, I mean I don't really know. I guess it's kind of just like a like what do you deem a little thing or like an issue or like something like that. Well, actually, you know what, I'm just gonna go with like strongly agree because it's like I think I do often more so think about what I'm supposed to do compared to like other people, and that's probably gonna sound pompous to like a lot of people, but it's like I'm a thinking kind of person, kind of like what I basically like just said. So it's like I probably think about things where I've even gotten people tell me that like I'm thinking about things like unnecessarily. So I suppose, I mean, even just going off of those, like, let's say, like certain situations where people are like, oh, it's just this simple, bro. Like, you don't have to add all like your extra shit. So it's like people can even hypothetically say those things about me, and it's like, holy shit, we're all just fucking like hypocrites here. But you know what? I mean, I won't talk about this any further. I'll just go with like strongly agree, I suppose. I have a quick temper. I mean, oh god, I don't want to say no because it's like I mean, everybody needs a sense of anger, I suppose, to like I guess like make yourself firm, establish yourself as like a presence in order to control things if like things are like getting out of hand. Um, I definitely don't want to pick disagree for this. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say strongly agree because kind of like what I mentioned, it's like I could be annoyed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like I feel the need to like let's say express it. But it's like I don't know. I feel like agree for me is still like a safe middle ground for like this particular thing. I follow a schedule and plan ahead. Um I know you have to meet like certain like things that you have to like follow through, but it's not like oh I have like schedules, I write down planners or whatever, all this kind of like stuff or whatever. Honestly, I kind of just do my best to wing it in like a lot of cases where it's like oh I have to do this at let's say like a particular time or a particular sort of like day. It's like I just try to be consciously aware of it. So it's like I can I don't know, let's say check the time, check the date, or it's like I don't necessarily like write shit down. I mean, I can keep like alarms on my phone, let's say, but it's more like I know I have like a whole lot of stuff to like let's say hypothetically like think about. So I think a lot of it is more so just like making myself aware that like I have like a particular like sort of like thing to do. So if that counts, then like yes, perhaps, but it's like okay, like is this saying that like there has to be like some sort of like manifestation to like bring it all together? I don't really do that or something. Uh, I'll just go with like disagree. I'm definitely more relaxed, at least when I think of like some like certain people. So I'll just go with like disagree. Like not strongly on either end, but I still think like yeah, just the disagree is yeah. I find discussions about philosophy to be quite boring. Um, strongly disagree. I think because like even if people want to say that like philosophy is just like mental masturbation, to me it's like this life from a nihilistic perspective. I would say from like an epistemological like nihilist perspective, like yeah, it is just mental masturbation. Like our ideologies are just like different forms of like cope. Nobody actually fucking knows anything, and it's all just a bunch of like random shit, roll of the dice, coincidence, chance, whatever. Like it doesn't mean anything. We're making up explanations just to like deal with it like for ourselves, and such is life, I guess. So I kind of think philosophy is basically just everything. If like let's say most people think philosophy is like too irritating because they can't find a practical like sort of like use for it, but I mean just like I think yeah, philosophy is pretty good at like exposing how like stupid life is, and it ultimately makes nihilism the ultimate philosophy in terms of I guess like how I would put it. So I find discussions about philosophy to be quite boring. Strongly disagree. I'm not too concerned with like others' feelings. I'm not too concerned with others' feelings. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, because it's like, why are we gonna pretend like everybody's perspective on us is gonna like influence like anything? That's why I don't necessarily get certain people that are like too much of like a people pleaser or like whatever. Because it's like, I mean, um if you're gonna let's say give a certain perspective about me, yeah, I can disagree. If I give a certain perspective about you, you can also like disagree or something. It's like at what difference will it actually make unless like I don't know, let's say like an extreme scenario, like you actually wanted to like throw hands or something, let's say, or yeah, like get it physical, let's say. Other than that, it's kind of just like I mean whatever. It's just stupid. So I'm gonna go with strongly agree. I'm quite tolerant when it comes to judging others. I mean, we all judge each other, so I'm gonna go with like strongly disagree. It's like people can think that they're trying their best to be like accommodating for like other people, and it's like, yeah, we're all hypocrites in this regard because it's like, sure, maybe everybody at some point tries to say like, oh, open your mind, even if it's for like their own, even if it's only for like their own like ideology that they're like trying to like defend or something. But then other times people will go out of their way to like shame you because they expect you to like behave in this like certain way and not have certain thoughts or not do like certain things. So it's kind of like it's always situational, I would say. So I don't really think that like anybody's like tolerant. If they think they are, then they just haven't really dealt with enough people that let's say disagree with them, or they haven't been placed in a situation where they would literally have to be like face to face with, I guess, let's say breaking what is like so comfortable for them, because a lot of people need certain scripts that like they need to follow, I guess. And essentially, like, yeah, like every conflict just boils down to the notion that, like, oh, this person, this group is not coping in the same way that I cope in this dumb, stupid world, which we're all just gonna die in because we're pointless. So, actually, yeah, strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. And I ought to think that, like, if everybody were being honest, they would also strongly disagree. I have a messy room. I mean, sure, yeah, it's like pretty like scattered. I wouldn't necessarily say like disgusting. It's kind of like unorganized, sure, because like stuff like all over. But I wouldn't say it's like too bad. Where it's like you could imagine like like there's like a joke in like shows where if somebody has like a really really like disgusting room, like you pick something up and there are even like animals or some shit. It's not that bad. Like rats crawling across the room or some shit, cockroaches. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the yeah. I agree. I enjoy looking at atlases or maps of the world. Um, Not really. I mean, I see it and I'm just like, okay, there it is. These are where these like fucking countries are, or like whatever. Or like if there's a globe and there's like nothing else, I kind of just like spin it for like my own amusement. I'm not necessarily like enjoying the geographical like information for like what it is, I guess. I'm just gonna go with like strongly disagree. I sympathize with other people's feelings. Um, sure. If I like care about that person, but it's not like I'm gonna pretend like I care about like everybody. Let's say. Um but you know what? Like strongly disagree. Because it's like if somebody has to change my mind, they gotta be like committed. It's like it doesn't matter like how stubborn I am. I mean like kind of like what I said. Like that's life. Like you have to keep like backing yourself up like no matter what, because all of these dumb ideologies are gonna crash together. So yeah, no, I don't sympathize with other people's feelings in a way. I often get into arguments when people tell me I'm wrong. Um, sorta, yeah, because it's like I would like to know why if somebody thinks I'm wrong, or if somebody claims to think that they really know this, and I think of contradictions, I do have an inclination to like tell them because if they were so sure, they ought to be able to like back it up and stuff like that. But it's like I know people are either just gonna hold on to the beliefs that they want like regardless, so it's not like it's okay, whatever. Like we had, I guess, a conversation where like thought experiments might have like occurred from it. I'm not hesitant to have these like conversations. Um, maybe it's also good to think about whether it's also like unnecessary or like whatever, which I don't necessarily like always think about because like kind of like how I would say it, like people always think that what they're gonna believe is like something that's gonna like help them, maybe even help other people because other people have this belief that like they have influence towards other people in like little ways or like another. So it's just like why not? Why not? Honestly, I mean, I think if you don't get into arguments with people like often, and even if we just say arguments in terms of like not necessarily heated arguments, let's just say like debates or like disagreements, then you're just surrounded by people obviously that already agree with you. So if you don't think this applies to you, then I kind of just think it's because of confirmation bias. So I'm just gonna go with agree. I'm a perfectionist. I mean, not really, because like nothing actually amounts to anything by the end. So it's like, sure, there's disappointment, but like even then, will that ever really take over like the nothingness overall? Like I don't think it will. So it's just like whatever. Strongly disagree. I don't have much of an imagination. I strongly disagree because like yeah, I mean like what I've said, like I think if people need to make shit up, we just make shit up because that is our cope. So it's like, yeah, everybody's imagining like random ideas or something, or like not even necessarily random ideas, because I know most people want to think like practically, but it's like, for example, a lot of people don't want to be compared to like an animal because I know people are going to shit talk animals in terms of like not being able to handle certain concepts that like humans can. So strongly disagree. I don't know the connotations that this thing sort of has for it, like in particular. I mean, obviously I don't. I'm kind of just like throwing what I've been saying in terms of like how I see this or that. But it's good that I'm recording myself taking it and talking about it because yeah, okay, you can assess the shit that like I'm saying. So I'm gonna go with strongly disagree. I don't mind dangerous jobs or activities. Uh, I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't want to just be in my room. Like, I don't necessarily feel the need to like go out unless I have to. Like, I'm that like typical introvert, you could say, but it's like, I don't know, like depends, I guess. Like, it's not like I wouldn't do anything that had this, like, I wouldn't be able to, let's say, do something with even like the slightest amount of risk. Like snowboarding, let's say, is probably not as bad as like let's say like jumping out of a plane with like a parachute. But like I would snowboard hypothetically. I would go like tubing down, which like I've done, and that was like like okay, like going down like a like hill of like snow or some shit. So I'm just gonna go with agree, like just like a slight degree, like agree sort of thing, like a middle ground agree. I rarely get angry. I strongly disagree. I mean, like, I think the world just deserves like scrutiny. It doesn't always have to be said, but it's like, if we're being honest with ourselves, why wouldn't we just constantly hate on it? It's fucking stupid. Sometimes I have difficulty working due to being disorganized. I mean, ADHD can be like irritating at times, like and like things about that, but like I know there's worse, so I'm just gonna kind of go with like agree here. Yeah, I'll just go with agree. Like sometimes, yeah, sure, sure. I enjoy learning about the histories and cultures of other countries. I mean, it depends. I don't necessarily care about like other people that much if it doesn't really like, have anything to do with me per se. Like sometimes I think it's dumb when people think that like, oh, you need to have like so much pride in like your culture or your this or your that, or like they take it so seriously because like, oh my gosh, it's like my identity. But it's just like, okay, history is about other people that did shit. And well, I mean, I know somebody's possibly going to come at me and be like, oh, well, certain people did this and now we're still paying the consequences for this or that. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of things to talk about, like, in terms of, like, history or, like, whatever. But I mean, just, like, I feel like some people, though, are just, like, incredibly, like, extra. Because it's, like, I don't know. Like, you kind of get the impression from some people where it's like that joke. It's like that meme where it's like there's that one kid in PE that like seriously thinks it's like the like Olympics or something, and like some people take like their nationality, their like race or something to like this like similar level, and like low key, it's kind of annoying because they're like, oh well, I'm from this, so I have like more of an authority to like speak on this or that, and I kind of think that's dumb because it's like, if you want people to, I guess, be more understanding about like certain things that like you would know better, and yet you don't even hypothetically care for like what they would have to like say about it because like you're just like the authority. I don't like the idea that I just have to like blatantly listen to somebody. And there are a lot of people, like that, where they think that it's like, oh, I'm part of this group, so automatically what I have to say about this holds like more merit. I'm like, okay, if it does, then it's like you should be able to like debunk things that like I hypothetically like say about it. I'm not necessarily talking about like anything specific, but like more or less I hope you know the kind of people that like I'm trying to describe or something. So I'm just gonna go with like disagree, but obviously not like strongly disagree. So yeah. I am very fearful when it comes to dangerous situations. I mean, I feel like if we're being honest, we're kind of run by fear to like a certain extent. I mean, I don't believe that all levels of fear are like this like panic inducing, oh my gosh, I'm going to have like a panic attack or like something like that. But it's like I feel like I kind of naturally operate in anticipation for like something terrible to like happen because if that's what people say, if that's what we're to understand about life, is that like everything's just a bunch of like series of like ups and downs or like whatever, then it's like if you're okay now, it's only like a matter of time before some like fuck shit happens. So technically the idea of a dangerous situation like never stops. So I'm kind of just gonna go with a agree, I guess, even though I don't really like the idea, like the I don't like the fact that it's just very fearful. I suppose like it makes sense to me, but I mean, again, it's gonna depend on your interpretation. I guess this one's mine, so I'll just go with yeah, I agree. I'm very stubborn. Oh hell yeah, I'm hella fucking stubborn for sure. I'm not even gonna like expand like more on that. I pay close attention to minor details. I mean, not really, because a lot of times I'm just like, give me like the gist of it. It's like unless we're gonna like break it down to like well, like in terms of like why we actually sort of like have to like I don't like life's fucking boring, and I know motherfuckers are gonna be like, you gotta find enjoyment in like the little things. So maybe it's sort of like this sort of shit, but it's just like, bro, I don't care to project. Like a lot of things are like super fucking boring. Like even if you're gonna tell me things like, oh, enjoy the little things or enjoy, like, I mean, I don't have to necessarily be in agony, but I'm just gonna have that like indifference overall. So I guess like disagree. I wouldn't enjoy reading through an encyclopedia. Depends what it was about, like, that I was like reading, I guess, because I could easily see this being like, I don't want to read about that, or oh sure, if I had nothing else to do and it just happened to be there and I could read it, I wouldn't mind. So I'll just go with like disagree. Obviously not strongly disagree. It's like, yeah, just a disagree. I'm less sentimental than most people. Yeah, probably. Because, like, the moment something stops in the time that it stops, I rarely, if ever, like, look back, I suppose. Or it's like the things that I do look back on are like things that I've just like enjoyed like personally, because like people can disappear at like any moment, so it's like you never know. So maybe it's like I have nostalgia in the sense that it's like I wish I could watch a movie that I enjoyed and get that feeling back from when I enjoyed it like the first time, or listen to a song that, yeah, I and get the same feeling back in terms of how I liked it that first time. Not that I like the movie or the song like any less now, but it's like, you know, nostalgia, I would say, like, is this like bittersweet like sort of thing, I suppose. So I feel like with sentiment, that stuff, like in general, it's kind of just like a, yeah, again, it's still cope, so it's like we still do it anyway, but I feel like regardless, like it's cope either way. Like, I'm not incapable of being sentimental, let's say, but I feel like, yeah, I probably am less sentimental than most people, so I'm just yeah, I'm gonna go with strongly agree. I try to be positive even when people mess up. Oh fuck no. I'm just like, again, it's like, yeah, we're not perfect beings, right? So it's just like life, it's stupid. It's stupid, so it's like whatever. I mean, like it's always going to be stupid if you ask me, like life. It's either like an irritating stupid or it's like a funny enjoyable stupid. Like that's only the minor difference, but it's still stupid nonetheless. So I'm trying to see. I forget to put things back in their proper place. I guess I don't really have this idea of like a proper place. Like again, it's just like if we're talking about like physical things or like whatever, then again, it's like as long as I remember where I put it in another spot, then like that's all that I'm kind of concerned about. So you know what? Yeah, strongly agree. I have lots of good ideas. I mean, everyone's deluded to think that like their ideas are good, I think. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with like strongly agree, because it's like, why would we argue in the first place? Why would we have any slight disagreement on anything? Why would we contradict like whatsoever in the slightest? So it's like, yeah, I agree. I have good ideas. I strongly agree that I have great, amazing, fantastic ideas. I often feel down. I'm gonna go with disagree because I feel empty for the most part. No, but it's not like I'm incapable of being down either. Like I'm sure I experience, like a wide range of fucking emotions, but it's just like regardless, like the expression is there. It's nevertheless that personal. Nevertheless, it's not that personal to me. So I'm just gonna go with disagree. I find it difficult to compromise with others when I'm sure I'm right. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I can think that like so many people are stupid, which I know is different from me compared to like certain kinds of people where they kind of feel like they have less conviction in what they think if so many people are like disagreeing with them. But I'm kind of like, nah, bro, I don't need your like appeal to majority fallacy. It's like, if I'm wrong, then it should only take like the one specific argument, not like your fucking high school mentality where, oh my gosh, no one here agrees with you, therefore you're automatically wrong. Like fuck that shit. I think it's stupid. I'm very driven when it comes to achieving goals. I don't know about very driven. I just want to do the things that I can, you know, do enough, okay enough to like, I don't know, get the things that I want to like distract myself, but it's just like I don't need a sense of accomplishment. I don't really think accomplishment is like real or like whatever. Like life is empty. Life is an empty void, like leading to death. So it's just like, like what even is that? So strongly disagree. I'm not as inquisitive as most people. Inquisitive in the sense that like what? I don't really know. Like, I feel like I think about a lot of shit more than like most like people, but then again, it's just me thinking about shit. I still think everyone in general is like typically a moron. I see that like weird contradiction in terms of being a human where it's like you could ridicule everybody, call yourself stupid, but maybe just for the sense of your own agency through the survival instinct still think that you're better than other people like regardless. I don't know. I'm sure that's a cool word that somebody would want to attach to, people would want to attach to. So like, you know what? I would say I strongly disagree. I rarely worry about things. Actually, yeah. Maybe I don't actually worry about certain things as much as like some people because it's like I notice that it's a flip flop, so I just feel like I don't really care about the consistency per se in terms of like I don't know, my attitude towards life because it's just like super dumb. So to like a certain way, I feel like yes, I'll like agree. I mean, everyone will fight, I guess, if their survival instinct is triggered enough, supposedly. But it's like I'm kind of just, you know, we're all a big cosmic joke. So in a lot of ways, it's just like funny. Or even if it's not funny, where I have the energy to like laugh, it's like why does it deserve like the will of like energy? Like fuck having a will in a way. Just like exists there, no different than an inanimate object because you know your being and everything is just incredibly dumb, stupid, and hollow, and it's just whatever. So I mean, I'll just go with an agree. When others disagree with me, I can be flexible in my opinions. I mean, uh, disagree. I mean, it would be cool if somebody were to like change my mind on something or introduce me to an idea that I'd never really like thought of. So I don't want to say I'm incapable, but like then again, like you know, if I'm gonna reach that point, I'm gonna give them my all. Obviously, I'm gonna give them like all my arsenal of information, like if I can, before I'd be like, "Yo, I see what you're saying, man." So I'm just gonna go with a slight agree. When others disagree with me, I can be flexible in my opinions. Sure, I guess. I often neglect my duties. I mean, I guess some days are like more depressing, and yeah, I immediately thought of that, but it's like, you know, I do shit. I haven't killed myself yet, so it's like, I don't know about often, but okay. Well, definitely not gonna be like a strong agree or strong disagree here. You know, I've made it this far, so I've done something to make certain patterns work in the way where like, okay, I'm still here, so I guess like I'm gonna go with disagree. Just on that basis. So, yeah, okay, there's this like freaking graph here. What do my results mean? Helping out. Well, I guess I can take a look at this myself more so. I'm just gonna end the video here because like holy shit, it's running at like well yeah, you can fucking see it. So it's like yeah, there you go. I don't know if this gave you anything to analyze about me, but that's kind of the attitude that I came in here to like take it for you guys to I guess work with something in terms of like oh you subscribe to me because blah 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 or like whatever. I don't know if I said things that might have let's say I guess confirm the narrative that you might have of me, maybe not, or give yeah. Basically, it's just to give you an idea of like me as a person, I guess, if I can do that in any way whatsoever. So yeah, there you go.